Hey, Meoni here, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about things from Dawntrail that I would love to have on my character, be that mounts, minions, emotes, that kind of thing, stuff to collect, and hopefully it gets added in the future, but if not, it's no big deal, but hopefully this isn't the end we see of some of these items because they are incredible models or assets that they should reuse and give us as rewards, in my opinion. I think it's fair to say that most people, when they come to Solution 9, they probably go and purchase themselves one of these bikes. And you can purchase one of these bikes very easily from the Air Wheeler Dealer. Air Wheeler Dealer, I love that. For 7.5 million gil, which actually isn't too bad if you're saving up. It's, I mean, you could do a lot worse than get that bike. It's really cool. But the elephant in the room is definitely this. Now, I don't know if this is ever going to become available, but you can't show me something like this, Square Enix, without me wanting to immediately get it. It's basically the Cybertruck, but arguably better. It's got these weird neon wheels. I don't know. It's just awesome, isn't it? It looks like it would carry at least 8 players. It's a family size sort of futuristic cyber car. I love it. I love the 6-wheeled nature of it. I'd love to see what the flight animation's like. Yeah, this guy is pondering it as well. Let's be like this guy and hope for the future. I really, really want that car. It looks so good though. And if we can't get that car, then at least can we settle for this car instead? It is higher resolution in the actual game itself, and it looks like something straight from Cyberpunk. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love this aesthetic though. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but seeing that flying towards a hunt train would be amazing. Or there is the massive bus. I mean, this armored sort of personnel carrier, I mean, that's also really cool. And it's much higher resolution than the car on the spinny stand near the tome vendor. I don't know. I just love the idea of having more futuristic looking mounts. And I think this car in particular would be the one I would choose ultimately. Look at that. It's kind of got that sort of reactive like tint on the windows. You can imagine you press a button and it becomes completely clear or something. I want to see how those doors open as well. That'd be amazing. But yeah, I'm in love with this design. I loved Cyberpunk, so yeah, it's the aesthetic I crave, honestly. There are these really fancy billboards with like the bike on them. They also have the car on them as well. They have some writing that I can't really tell what that says. It's in some kind of script that I don't think we're supposed to make sense of, but it's there and it looks like a Tron car. It looks amazing. Also, can we have that emote of you drinking that? That looks awesome. I love that drink. Like the metallic nature of it. We need better drinking emotes. I don't think we really have one, do we? Not really. We have like eat cookies and stuff like that, but a drink emote like this, just an honorable mention once we're here. Just sneak that one in. I would love that. And obviously, since we're in Solution 9, one of the things that I think everybody will agree on is one of their most wishlisted items would be the hair colors that have been added to NPCs all throughout this city. They are absolutely beautiful. We have everything from neon pink to neon blue to greens, just everything you could ever want. So I really hope in that future character creation update that they talked about the other day in a Lodestone post that we get these someday. That would be high on my list. Another thing for glamour enthusiasts, a lot of us are probably wanting one of these, and it has to be fully animated. I want it to be exactly like this, with perhaps like a visor toggle to toggle it to the red function, which is obviously, if you've done the storyline, you'll know what that means, where you take on other powers, essentially. But I would love to have this. I know for lore reasons, regulators, I mean, they're not something that the player character needs necessarily, but it'd be nice to just have one as glamour, even if it's just, you know, to like, I don't know. The way they could implement this is maybe in a quest line where you have to pretend to be somebody who has a regulator, one of those stealth missions, and you have to infiltrate somewhere just to like as a side quest, and the reward is this glamour. Or maybe just add this to a shop somewhere as a glamour. I just think we need regulators. There are far too many people who are like, I would love to have this on my character. And there are people, obviously, imitating this in real life. There are people on Etsy selling copies of this and people creating their own version. It's just such a cool thing that Dawntrail added, and I would love to have that available as a glamour option. Okay, another thing on my list that's very high up will actually be some housing items. So if we go over to the residential radius 911 over here, or in fact the 914 residential radius in solution 9 to the south, you'll find some places that are completely vacant, and inside of them there are some seriously cool housing items. I mean, where do I start? Banana leaves, those are amazing. We need those for our house. And I'm sure Square Enix did this intentionally, going, here's a preview of some of the things we might get. These LEDs are brilliant. We've got coat racks with the Universal gear hung on them. There's even a version of the martial artist's gear with a bike on it. I don't know if anybody's even seen that. That's really cool. And then we've got obviously a massive plasma TV. How many of you who make housing have tried to make TVs with the back of cupboards, and tried to frame them with picture frames so it looks like there's a television that's turned off? Yeah, this would be incredible to have as a housing item, this holographic TV. It's so cool. There are all sorts of things like decanters on here. There's rations. This table's good. The sofas are amazing looking. I love these neon wardrobe type things here with shoes and more Universal gear, obviously, everywhere. And there's the mask slot, the face masks. We've got everything from the Cactuar desk neon. That's sick. I love that. We've got these artistic sort of also nano leaf lights. Some more over there, different colors. There's just so much. There is so much that I would love to have in my house. We've got some of the neon lights. This bed would be amazing. I mean, you could literally just go, hey, we're going to put all of this stuff into the game and spread it over the course of the expansion's patches, and I would be happy. Because when I first walked in here through my playthrough of the storyline, I was distracted by everything, including the personal alarm clock type thing there. I don't know what that actually is. I presume it's a clock of some description. The chocobo LED. It's just such a cool experience walking into one of these places. The ceiling fans. Yeah, the apartments are amazing. And if we got even a couple of items from here, I would probably choose the neons, the lights on the wall, and probably the television. That would be a game changer for housing. Another great housing item is actually over here. If you go back for the Arcadion storyline, you can go back in past Yana and where Meoni is into the gym. And there's actually this amazing PC setup, which would be incredible to have as a housing item, complete with energy drinks on the side, mouse, keyboard, and all of these monitors. It really does look amazing. This gaming chair with neons, the actual PC tower at the side. This is brilliant. If we could get this for housing, the applications that this would have for RP and venue ideas would be just astronomical. It's such a cool idea. I would love to have this in my house. One of the locations you go to for the MSQ is actually the Neon Stein, or Stein? Neon Stein, I think, not Stain. And one of the things I would love as a housing item in particular is this, the DJ booth. It is absolutely incredible. This, I don't know, we need this. Ever since we saw the Laporit dance studio that was part of that tribal quest, I've been begging for a DJ booth and a dance floor, because I love the idea of social spaces. A lot of people love to create, venues in the game. This would be the perfect accompaniment to that. An actual DJ booth with the stairs and everything. This as a whole housing item, that's very high on my list of things I would love to have. Very high. It's so cool, isn't it? These neon lights are cool as well. But yeah, the DJ booth on its own is just, it's chef's kiss, isn't it? It's brilliant design. Another small request, if you will, for housing, outdoor spaces. How cool would it be if we had neon signs like this that we could display? Boards, any kind of neon sign really, for venues. I think people would instantly know where things were, especially like the drink neon symbol. That would be lovely to have above certain houses, so you knew exactly where you were going. There's plenty of people I know that I've been invited to for various glamour contests and things where they have their own bars and RP venues. It's just something that should be in the game, and they've got no excuse now. They've got these amazing looking signboards and neons everywhere. Speaking of drinking in the game, this bar shaker animation is shown in at least 2 of the zones, one of them obviously being Solution 9. I've also seen this in Shaloni. It's so cool. It would be really nice to have this. Obviously, we have like bar environments that we can place in our house, and people have made venues. It would just be a really nice emote. Just the never-ending shake persistent emote would be such a cool addition, alongside the drinking Starbucks emote that we mentioned earlier. One of the things I wanted most of all when we were leveling through Dawntrail was one of these alpacas. Now, fortunately, the game actually gave us one of these for hitting our maximum level and finishing this, and it is one of the coolest mounts in the game, in my opinion. I love how fluffy it is. What's not to love about that? But there's one that's even better than that, and I hope Square Enix knows that ever since they showed this, that this immediately needs to be made into a mount. We've got the Chocobo carriage, but this could be so much more. This is an alpaca powered carriage, and we need the fluffiness. We really do. You can imagine a couple of these maybe pulling this, you know, in this exact barding, pulling this along. Maybe have this like a couple of person, like 2-person mount, maybe a 4-person mount. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love the texture resolution and the design of this thing. It's just great, isn't it? It's something that's a no-brainer. It needs to be a mount, and hopefully this is something that gets added to the game in the future. It is so cool. And whilst we're on the topic of outdoor spaces, how cool would it be if we had these lanterns, this like canopy of lanterns that you can find in Tulialal in your housing space? I know they probably wouldn't be able to do quite as many, but just having a couple of strips of these, or just one strip of them, would be so nice just to hang between sections. I don't know how they would do it actually, because there's no wall placement outside, is there? But maybe between 2 poles or something, they could put poles in the game and then have these attached to them. But I absolutely love this part of Tulialal. Like, I walked through here a few times when it was night. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Reminds me of those flying lanterns through some of those festivals that you see. Another outdoors item I would love to get is this Tesla coil tree. It literally is electrified, buzzing with electricity. It's in this coil. I think that would be so cool. This is obviously in Heritage Found. There's a bunch of these. They are really, really, really cool. I would love to have some of those because they've got quite high luminosity as well, and that electrified sort of thing. It would be so cool to have that in our front garden of our FC house. There are so many items I would like from Living Memory, but to see them, we've got to turn the lights back on. It's kind of looking a bit dead here. So to do that, if you didn't know, go to Duty, go to New Game Plus, choose any scenario before that of Dawntrail. So let's do, I don't know, Stormblood Part 1, and commence that New Game Plus. Boom. Because technically this existed prior to that, we don't have to put up with the dead area anymore. This is great for GPOs as well, just as a little extra tip, I guess, but people probably already knew this. So if you wanted to relive the Living Memory experience all over again without having to actually play a new character or go through New Game Plus itself, you just use New Game Plus to any point before Dawntrail, and you can experience what it looked like again, which it's a beautiful zone. I think one of the things that sets Living Memory apart from other zones is just the more gold sorcery this place looks as opposed to anywhere else in the game. It is an incredibly high fantasy, beautiful, like neon landscape. And I want this carousel in the Gold Saucer, even if it costs me MGP to go and sit on a horse. I think that'd be nice, just as a little like attraction in the background. It's so cool, isn't it? And there's one inside of a dungeon as well, which is even more, explosive with colors. Yeah, I think we should get a carousel mini game inside the gold saucer, just as a little side activity, because this looks so good. Or if we can't get the carousel, what about a giant Ferris wheel? If you look at Final Fantasy VII, there was a lot more rides like this in their gold saucer. This is easily something that could transfer over to our gold saucer, I think. And it would be just nice to take in the scenes and go for a date night. Although we won't have the perfect date night because there's no Barrett in our video game, but we could have also, yeah, I guess we could take Raban. Raban would be a great date to take on a Ferris wheel, I think. Don't know. Let me know what you think. Who would you go on a date with? And I think it's the same that could be said for the theater as well. I think that would be a really nice thing to do with our gold saucer, to have the theater. After playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I want an interactive theater more than anything else in our gold saucer now. That would be so cool to see plays and things on the stage. On the topic of housing again, one of the things I've said for the longest time is it would be nice to have swimming pools. Well, why not make the, the opportunity to put these in? They are absolutely fantastic and they are so bright and colorful. It would be lovely to see these in the outside garden of any house. Even if they shrank them a little bit, just having a swimming pool would be nice. We've got some sort of miniature pools, but they're not the same, are they? I would love to have something we could do swim animations in, kind of like this dude is here. It would just be nice, wouldn't it? A nice pool party or something at the FC house. In terms of emotes from living memory, I don't think anybody would disagree with eating ice cream as an emote. It's so cool, pun intended, I guess. But there's a certain storyline that I won't spoil for you, and it's brilliant. And it's made even better by the fact that we can eat this beautiful ice cream. But I would love to have that as an actual emote, just as a little memory from that storyline, because it was so bittersweet. It was over before I wanted it to be over, and it was, in contrast to a lot of the storyline, one of my favorite moments of Dawntrail. We've seen this scenery with the Laporits as well on the moon before, with these lanterns that look like trees, or they are trees but made of lanterns. It'd be so nice to have a miniature version of this for some kind of a luminescent tree outside. It's such a cool idea. I love this. I loved it in the Laporit tribal area. It's just so iconic. I love the floating ones as well, but the ones that look like trees definitely would be amazing as a housing item. And since we talked about the gold saucer so much, I thought, well, it would be really cool if we could reenact some of those fantastic date nights, or go with one of your friends on a gondola ride. They could have like a canal section in the gold saucer. I know that's probably a big undertaking, or some kind of gate event. I don't know how they would do it, but the gondola sections of the storyline, again, some of my favorite in contrast to the rest of the storyline, just little extra bits. In fact, Living Memory itself was just an absolute blast to play through. It really was. But the gondola ride, excellent choice. Excellent choice. And I would love to see this as like a ride somewhere else in the game. Hopefully they reuse this asset and have something similar like this in the future. But anyway, who knows how long we're going to be in the waiting room for any of those things. Those are just a few things that I would love to see in the game in the player's hands, and I'm sure there are plenty that you thought about over the course of playing through Dawntrail. I really loved this expansion. The storyline was not perhaps, up there with some of the other experiences I've had in the game, but the content delivery and, the combat side of things and the rest of it, the world building, was certainly up there as one of the best I've played. And I can't wait to see what we get from this expansion. So hopefully the patch content brings some of what I've mentioned, and hopefully a lot more as well that surprises us. Anyway, let me know what you're most excited for getting, hopefully in the future, from Dawntrail. Have you walked by something and gone, wow, that would be a really cool mount, or wow, that would be a really cool item for my housing, or so on and so forth. High on my list, though, like I say, is the hair colors, the regulator, and probably some of the mounts. That would be high on my list. Anyway, let me know below, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.